Okay. And now I believe I should be live on YouTube. I think. I think we got it working. Yeah. Live streaming to a private stream. No wonder nobody was there, and no wonder you couldn't find it. But that's why, hey, that's why we're testing stuff today, right? Like, that's literally the whole point of all of this, is to figure out those kind of quirks and bugs so that, like, I can have more control locally rather than going through a third-party service to multi-stream out to multiple platforms. Because I want to get Twitch and YouTube working, because the next step will be to add stuff like TikTok or, you know, I'm not going to get on Kick because screw that place. But, you know, insert any other thing that I might want to potentially add to the mix. YouTube is working. It's 8-ball. Oh, well, it's a good thing I can see you. Jeremiah's here. TT is Sakura. I think you lost me. What's going on with TikTok? Talking about TikTok is sacrilege. Sure. All right, then. You know what's weird, though, is even though I'm getting the YouTube chat up on the stream, I'm not getting it in my chat screen now. So now we got a new problem to work out. I don't know what's going on with... Yeah, multi-chat seems like it's working like on the stream, but I'm not getting it in my multi-chat window that I can read on my screen. So I have to like squint to read the little tiny version that's on my preview window. But that, again, that's why we're doing this. So let's keep plugging, let's keep working on it. Currently do not have an active... You know what I think I'm gonna do, actually? I'm gonna restart my app for that. Where's that thing? Just give me a second. I'll get this sorted. I think. I hope. Maybe. Okay, this says connected to YouTube. Okay, it says connected to YouTube chat. So if there's anybody on YouTube currently that can throw just something in the YouTube chat so I can test it, I would really appreciate that. Jeremiah, you still hanging out on YouTube? Anybody? Bueller? Oh, perfect. Okay, thank you. That confirms it. All right. So yeah, I just had to restart my little chat thing. Probably because I had to set up a new YouTube thing, but now it's working. You know what's funny? That movie's called Ferris Bueller's Day Off, but that guy did the most on his day off. Like, honestly, his day off was exhausting. I know that's probably not a popular take. That's kind of what I like to do on my days off, fun things. I like to do fun things. But like that, to me, that's not a day off. To me, that's just a day of fun things. When I take a day off, I don't want to do shit. There, let's do this. So you say Ferris Bueller's Day Off and War Games every day, but I would argue that if we could do Back to the Future every day, we'd have unlimited days. You know, because time machine. Good food? I mean, they're just Doritos. But I'm eating Doritos with chopsticks because as I had called out early on in the stream, chopsticks have become a bit of a life hack for me. Vastly improved my hand dexterity by just using chopsticks as often as possible. And not only do I not get Dorito stuff all over my fingers, but improving my hand dexterity has made me a lot better with the turntables. Still getting stuff all over my shirt though. Haven't figured out a good hack for that. As he drops a chip on his shirt. Oh, come on. All right. So far, it seems like everything's working on the streaming stuff. So let's get along with a little bit of power wash, shall we? Probably help if I reconnected my controller. Oh, and would also help if I switched the screen again. So I'm working on some new transitions. I've got a new plugin I want to play around with for that. Yeah, I've got a whole lot of ideas I want to try to implement here in the next few weeks. But I'm just trying to take my time so that I can make sure that I know what I'm doing as I'm going through and just pushing buttons and turning stuff on. You know, trying to be good at this. Thankfully, there's just a bunch of great YouTube stuff out there to help you kind of navigate all the crazy, complicated stuff that is modern streaming. Eight Ball says I would like the Mr. Fusion and the flight upgrade in my car. Master a piece at a time, smart. That way, when something breaks, you're not spending super long to fix it. Yeah, that's kind of the idea. Is you know, if I'm gonna do something like this, like I want to be able to resolve issues, kind of manage things as I'm going, you know, that sort of thing. By the way, I hope you all are enjoying your Sunday afternoon. I meant to get out to Vault 31 today. They were doing like a craft day at the Don't Die Cafe. I really wanted to go like hang out and do some crafty stuff. I got some other projects that I'm working on. It would have been nice to get over there and say hi and hang out and do some work on some things, but man, I didn't get over there today. I slept in and ended up kind of dealing with some dumb stuff at home. By the time it was kind of all said and done with, I was like, all right, well, whatever. So I'll just keep having to, you know, work on getting myself back over to Vault 31, saying hi to them over there. One of the things that I've been wanting to get into is 3D printing. I've had several ideas for getting into the business side of 3D printing. But I sold my 3D printer last year because I wanted to upgrade to one of the newer style ones, and the newer style 3D printers are really nice, but they're just, you know, a little outside the budget right now. Hey Ball, I really want a 3D printer, but I have no space. So funny thing, funny you should say that. There's options, man. There's actually some really like great options now. Jeremiah, no, I don't want a Bamboo. I wanted a Bamboo up until a month and a half ago. Bamboo is locking down their software system, and there's at the same time, like, CES introduced all of the new Core XY machines from all the other 3D printing manufacturers. So like Prusa has a new one, and Elegoo just introduced like a crazy nice new printer that's only $300, but that won't be out till like June. They're taking pre-orders right now. But yeah, the Core XY style printers like the Bamboos, they didn't have competition for a while, and now they do. So I'm very much not interested in the Bamboo anymore because of what they decided to do with their software. They're basically going the way of Adobe, and there's a reason why I ditched Adobe. Prusa and Elegoo, they are popular brands. I had an Elegoo, what they call a bed slinger printer. It was the Elegoo Neptune 3, and it was okay. It needed more attention and more tweaking than I was really willing to give it, and that's part of the reason why I went ahead and sold it. I hope that the folks who bought it from me, it was a friend of mine that bought it off of me, and hopefully he's getting use out of it, because I was kind of struggling with it. And at the time I was thinking I wanted to get a bamboo anyway, so I was gonna sell it and then buy a bamboo, but then I never bought the bamboo. And then Bamboo decided that ripping people off and stealing more of their money through a subscription service was more important than creating a quality product that the enthusiast community could recommend. Show their true colors. Well, sort of. I think there's more to it than that. That's the kind of the problem, is like Bamboo, I think, is going through some stuff, and I think they made some poor decisions. I don't think it makes them bad people. I think it means they just made a mistake, and whether or not they realize the mistake they made and react accordingly is kind of remains to be seen. It's very possible that, like a lot of companies, they have, you know, shareholders that have to be appeased because they can't afford to pay out their shareholders. If the shareholders decide that they don't want to be shareholders anymore. Same thing with the creator of the Benchy test print. They tried to trademark it. What? I've never heard of that. I saw someone made a bench test print and they called it Boaty. I didn't realize the guy who made the Benchy was trying to trademark it. That's funny. I mean, it's silly and never going to happen, but it's funny. But yeah, Elegoo's new Century Carbon printer is, you know, has effectively an almost identical print space, like output size, as the Bambu Labs, but it's $300. Has a camera, can do time-lapse videography, like it can do almost all the same stuff the Bamboo can. It can do carbon fiber filament, like all that, and you're paying $300 instead of $1,200. Like, that's, you know, Elegoo's just really like messing up the game for everybody over at Bamboo. The X1C is still a really nice machine. Like, don't get me wrong, the hardware is great, and you know, it has a nicer camera. It has, as I understand it, some better networking stuff, although I haven't actually like had my hands on it. I've just watched a lot of YouTube videos. But I think the X1C, like hardware wise, is still a nicer machine. But the Elegoo at $300 is just, it's just eating Bamboo for lunch. And then you've got, like, you know, Prusa. Everybody who runs print farms, they run Prusas because Prusa's just, you know, they're the Toyota of the 3D print community. They just don't die. They're rock solid and reliable. And so, like, you know, Prusa knows what he's doing. And their new Core XY is a little pricey. It's like $1,500, I think, for Prusa's new, I think they call it the Core 1. But it's, you know, Bamboo X1C quality with Prusa reliability is basically what's happening there. So, like, if you seriously need a reliable, like, hardcore machine, the Prusa Core 1's probably going to be the way to go, because reliability, especially when you're printing for manufacturing, like if you're trying to run an Etsy shop or something, like, it's about reliability and repeatability. You know, can you print 9 things and have all 9 of those things be exactly consistent with each other? An abused sponge, yeah. Also not unlike Toyota. Toyotas, you can beat the hell out of them. They just keep going. You know what's funny is like Toyota has a reputation for reliability in the car market. I didn't know when my wife and I got together, we first started dating. I had no idea that her mom used to like run the dock for Toyota in Portland. She's retired now. But yeah, it was pretty wild to find out like way after we've been dating for a while that I had no idea that what would become my future mother-in-law ended up working for, had an entire career with Toyota here in Portland. There's a man in Japan who's driven a Toyota sedan over 1 million miles. He's replaced everything on that car at least 4 times, including the engine. They gave him an award for it. Yeah. That tracks. Dude probably bought that Toyota brand new back when you could, you know, just casually afford new cars. In the 70s or the 80s or whatever, and then he's just been driving the same car ever since, because if you have a car that gets you where you're going, why buy a new one? I almost did that with my last car. I really struggled with giving up my last car because I loved it and I really wanted to put some time and some money into it. But the transmission needed a rebuild, and it was going to cost something like $3,500 that I just couldn't justify spending another $3,500 on that car. But I almost did, just for the sake of hanging on to it. It's an investment at this point. It's paid for, and I can't afford a new car payment. Well, yeah, there's that too. Like, I don't understand how people buy new cars. Somebody's buying them because they're still making them. But it's just beyond me. Interest right now is around 7%, which is ridiculous. I mean, that's assuming you even have decent enough credit to get 7%. Yeah, I remember one time I was in, I think I was in college. I went to go buy a car, and I didn't have very good credit because I just never, like, I'd had a couple of credit cards over the years, but never really done much with them. And so I never really built my credit up. And so when I went to go buy a car, they wanted to give me like 6% interest. And my dad straight up told me, if you drive that car home, you better pack your stuff. You can't live here anymore. I mean, he was right, but he didn't need to be a dick about it. Sonic. You know what's funny is there's an entire lo-fi album dedicated to Sonic Frontiers, and I've never played that game. I've heard mixed things. I've heard it's pretty good. I've heard you definitely should not play it on Switch because the limitations of graphics and stuff on the Switch are just like make that game really tough to play. Kind of like Minecraft. Like it's fine, but it's like not fine, you know? I don't know. One of these days I'll get around to playing Sonic Frontiers, probably. Maybe. Just finished watching Sonic 2. Dude, have you seen the third one yet? Also, if you just finished watching Sonic 2, you should absolutely watch the Knuckles series before you watch Sonic 3. It is not required. I will say up front, it's watching the Knuckles series is not required viewing to enjoy Sonic 3, but we just watched Sonic 3 on Paramount Plus, and if you are able, please do yourself a favor, watch the Knuckles series before you dive into Sonic 3. It's a fun series and it's a worthy watch. Idris Elba as Knuckles, like, I was skeptical when they announced that casting. I was like, how is this gonna work? I am no longer skeptical. He was absolutely, he continues to absolutely kill it as Knuckles. Idris Elba is an amazing Knuckles, and now I can't really imagine anybody else doing it. So, like, kudos to that guy. You know, Idris Elba is not exactly an unknown name. Like, he's a wildly popular professional actor. So, of course, he's going to do a good job. But, yeah, I don't know, man. I didn't see it when they first announced it was Idris Elba. And then, weirdly, I kind of felt the same way about Keanu Reeves. I was like, is he gonna work? Like, because they cast Keanu as Shadow for Sonic 3, and I was like, is that gonna work? How are they gonna do that? It was fantastic. Keanu Reeves was excellent as Shadow. I think a lot of it is in the writing. I will say, having writers that know the characters well enough, but also are able to utilize the sort of unique traits of the actors behind those characters really speaks to the level of quality that's going into these Sonic productions. I think whoever's financing these Sonic movies understands that they are successful for a reason, and you don't screw with whatever that reason is. Have you seen the new Venom? No, you know what's funny? I have not seen any of the Tom Hardy Venom movies. And I keep hearing sort of mixed things about them, but like there are a lot of people that like them, and I just haven't had a chance really to like sit down and like watch through them. I was pretty hardcore all about the MCU stuff, so like I just kind of ignored the Venom stuff. And now that there's been several of them and that people like really like them and whatnot, like I think I need to go back and watch some Venom. Those are a recommend for me. Sure. All right. I appreciate that. I don't remember what the last movie was that you recommended to me, but it was at Lo-Fi Night. You recommended some movie to me, and I went and watched it, and I really enjoyed it. So I can easily accept your recommendation of the Venom films. Keanu's finally making Constantine 2. I heard a rumor that they're trying to do it. I don't know where they're at in the like pre-production process with it. And not, absolutely nothing against Keanu, but where's that other dude that played Constantine? Like what happened to him? Because he was doing he did like a Constantine series that was like way better than it had any right to be, and then they pulled the plug on him unceremoniously. And then last I saw him, he showed up on what show was that? Was it the one with Brendan Fraser where he plays the robot? The one that was like set in the HBO like Titans universe, and it had Cyborg. What show was that? It was like there was Titans and then there was the other show. No. The live action Titans. And then there was another live action show starring Brendan Fraser and like several other people. And then there was this dude that played Cyborg. Cyborg was in it. But it was all set in the same universe because the guy who played Beast Boy like started out on the one, like he started out with them and then went with the Titans, and that was like Beast Boy's origin for the Titan series. I would look it up right now, but I'm busy trying to power wash this window real quick. I think that windowsill is probably done. I'll try to get this one knocked out. Oh, you know who else was in that show? Was Timothy Dalton. So Timothy Dalton played this like doctor. Actor's name is Matt Ryan, but I couldn't find the show you're referencing. Okay, so Timothy Dalton plays this doctor guy that runs this like home for, basically it's like a home for mutants, but they can't call it that because, you know, copyright. And it stars Brendan Fraser and April Bowlby, if you know who she is. And trying to think who else is in it. Oh, Alan Tudyk showed up, I think, in season 2 as like the big bad guy. Oh, and you know who else had like a yes, Doom Patrol, thank you. You know who else had a walk-on role in Doom Patrol was I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but it's the guy who played Badger on Firefly, and then he also played he was also in Supernatural. And I can't remember like what else he's been in. He's been in a ton of stuff. But he showed up as this like wizard guy on Doom Patrol. And it was funny. He's this like wizard dude on Doom Patrol, but he carries his bag around that has like his stuff that in his bag that like for his spells and whatnot. So it's like a literal bag of holding, and he pulls stuff out of his bag to do his little spells and stuff. And he's like super like twitchy and nervous, and it's because of all of the magic-y stuff that he's seen that he won't even bother explaining to the people around him because it would break their minds if they knew what he knew, that kind of thing. So like he's just this like, he's like this walking like nervous tick. He's like just a walking like conspiracy theorist, but like they're not conspiracies. Sounds like Rincewind from Discworld. A little actually. It's got a little bit of that going on. Yeah, he's like as a wizard, he's like seen some stuff, and like it was such an incredibly good character choice. I don't know if it's like a character out of the Doom Patrol comics that they translated for screen, or if it's like an original thing. I have no idea like what the sort of backstory is there. All right, let's get down onto that roof and start making more progress. Yes, that's basically so. 8Ball, you get it. Like you kind of nailed it. That's basically what his character is on Doom Patrol. Except that he's that, but also like a wizard that does like cast spells and stuff like that. It's wild. Yeah, Doom Patrol, I watched the first 2 seasons. It's a weird, but like it's fun weird. And it has really good heart, especially Brendan Fraser's character, who is like a dude who's like resurrected in a robot body, but he still is like remembering a lot of his old memories from when he was still human. And so like he tries to reconnect with his daughter and stuff. It's really sweet. And well, it's like sweet, but also heartbreaking. Like, I don't want to say too much more because I don't want to like outright spoil anything, but yeah, man, check out Doom Patrol. And if you haven't, like, if you've never seen the live action Titans on Max, like, that show's crazy, like crazy. I don't know who the kid is they got to play Jason Todd, but he's a psychopath, and it's great. On Doom Patrol, the guy that got to play Cyborg did a really great job. I mean, honestly, everybody on Doom Patrol did a really great job. That cast has just absolutely insane talent. But yeah, Titans follows a quote unquote retired Dick Grayson. And he meets up with the new Robin, who is Jason Todd, and then they go through that whole nonsense with Jason Todd becoming Red Hood and whatnot. And then like towards the end of that towards the end of that last season, we start to see Tim Drake sort of like come into his own and sort of like, you know, gain some confidence and take ownership, and eventually like take on his new role as Robin. So it's kind of cool. In Titans, we get to see Dick Grayson, Tim Drake, and Jason Todd all in live action. Title theme, The Hour of Twilight. That must be from Twilight Princess. Also, my now playing isn't working. Let me see if I can fix that real quick. That's better. Just need a little refresh, no big deal. 8Ball says, I've been told The Boys is a roller coaster of a trip, but also a hard watch because of the brutality of it all. It's been on my watch. Dude, okay. So, if you liked The Boys comic series, then you know what you're getting into with The Boys TV show on Amazon. I don't want to say too much about it. What I will say is the brutality of the comic books is very much present in the TV show, albeit adapted slightly, because in the comics, like they're just worse. Like there's like even with the loosest of standards on Amazon television, like there's still just some stuff in the comics you don't want to show on TV. Because it's bad. But yeah, funny enough, Yacht Rock Smooth years ago also turned me on to Garth Ennis, which made me a fan of The Boys. And I collected a good chunk. I have a pretty sizable chunk of The Boys comics in singles even. I know I don't have the whole series. I would say I probably have about 3/4 of it. Or maybe more like 2/3. I don't know about 3/4. That might be generous. Oh yeah, I gotta get up there. Let's see if I can get it from here. There we go. 2, and I don't know if that top donut still needs. Doesn't look like it. Maybe I got it. I see a spot there. Some spots there. I see that spot. Okay. I see a little spot in there. Everything looks clean on the donut stack. So let's hit this other side of the roof. But yes, the I will say The Boys TV show is it is very good. If you're not big on like violence, like heavy violence, maybe not for you, but it's a send up of superhero comics. Like that was the whole thing originally, was that Garth Ennis hated superhero books, what he called cape books, and so he made The Boys literally as a way to just make fun of all things superhero comics. It's pretty bad. All of the superheroes in that world are just sexual deviants and degenerates, and no one can stop them because they have superpowers. And the superpowers come from some corporately produced super drug, and they package and they PR their superheroes to death. And so everything is super packaged and hyper sterilized, and it's all for the purpose of selling t-shirts and comics and lunch boxes. Yeah, if you ever wondered what Garth Ennis thought about superhero comics, watch The Boys. You won't have any questions. You'll get a real good idea of how he feels about superheroes. His portrayal of Judge Dredd was flawless. You know, I never read any Judge Dredd comics. Oh, sorry, you were talking about Carl Urban. I'll watch anything with Carl Urban in it. He's a favorite actor of mine. Yeah. I mean, yeah, Carl Urban is absolutely incredible. He puts on a Cockney accent for the character of Butcher in The Boys, and he is every bit as excellent as you hope he would be. In fact, he was one of the big draws for me when they originally announced they were doing a Boys series. When I found out Carl Urban was going to play Butcher, I was like, oh, damn, okay. One of the other sort of fun trivia bits about The Boys is that the main character, Huey, who is just a dude who like stumbles his way into hanging out with the boys and working with them, but like, you know, originally Huey just like doesn't have powers and is just kind of like a dude, right? and he becomes this like, you know, this sort of like pseudo narrator for the story because all this stuff sort of happens around him, and so we see a lot of it through his perspective. The original Huey was designed to look like Simon Pegg. In fact, just straight up looks like him, looks like Simon Pegg in the comics. And then Simon Pegg loved it, so he I think he wrote a couple of forewords for some of the book releases, some of the compilation releases for the boys, and had worked with the boys over the years a little bit off and on. Signed off on his likeness being used and whatnot. And then when they did the TV show, Simon Pegg plays Huey's dad because he's a little too old to play the character of Huey now. But he plays Huey's dad, which is kind of a fun Easter eggy little thingy. Yeah, check out The Boys. I mean, honestly, it's either going to be for you or it isn't. And I will say, if you do enjoy The Boys, which I very much enjoyed it, and I am a fan, I will say, check out the spin-off series called Generation V. It takes place within that universe, and it's about a high school of, you know, a bunch of high school kids with superpowers. And I know that's a little tropey, but I kind of love that trope. These bunch of superpowered teenagers. I'm one of those weirdos that really loved X-Men Evolution because it was all of the X-Men characters going to high school together. It's very dumb, I know, but listen, I like what I like. Roof icings. Okay, so this, I'm missing something somewhere. There's some. Okay, side eaves, got that. And then what am I missing? I'm probably missing something up on the backside. I need to probably get back up on the roof because I don't see anything here. I'm pushing the button to show me the orange. Oh, there's some. No. Hey, Shikun. Yeah, I'm just hanging out. I'm doing some testing today. Today is the day I decided to test some multi-streaming stuff and see if I could actually make it work from my computer rather than using a third-party service to do the multi-streaming. And so far, I've had a couple weird little technical things I've had to deal with, but nothing it was just settings stuff. It wasn't anything beyond my control, you know? And so everything seems like it's working pretty good. You tell me, is it a good experience? Does it look good? Does it sound good? You know, let me know how it looks and feels, because this whole thing is just me testing stuff out today. That's why we're doing a little power wash sim, just because I wanted to, you know, test everything out. Looks good to me. Cool. Right on. How's your Sunday going? You having a good Sunday? Front door handle. Is that over here? Am I just... Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, look at that. I got one spot left. Ding. Okay. Yes, very chill. Love that. A nice chill Sunday. I should probably stream on Sundays more often, I think. I know you guys are probably biased. So I probably know the answer to this question already, but out of curiosity, Do y'all want me to start streaming on Sundays and do like a chill Sunday afternoon thing? Because I could be down for that. Never played Power Wash Simulator, but it has chill vibes. Yeah. I love me some Power Wash Simulator. Like, I legit love Power Wash Simulator. So here's when you hop into Power Wash Simulator, you have career mode, then you have the special stuff. So career mode is like, you know, the main game of Power Wash Sim. There's bonus jobs. The Muckingham Files is a whole thing. If you get into like the lore of Power Wash Simulator, you kind of understand a little more about what that stuff is. Odd jobs, we got like a golf course, there's a Mars rover, there's like a giant park fountain, there's a steam locomotive, you know, so there's all kinds of fun stuff that you can clean. There's a paintball arena, and there's an excavator, there's a little Spanish villa. I love all of these, by the way. They're all great levels. But then if you go to the specials section, oh, the skate park, yeah, skate park's a good level too. But if you go to the specials section, this is where all the DLC stuff is, right? And I have all of the DLCs because I love this game. Well, that and like if you bought the game on Steam, the DLCs are you just get them for free. But you have seasonal stuff. The cruise ship is easily my favorite, but the ice rink was for winter 2024, and the ice rink is really good too. You got Santa's Workshop from 2023. That was like their holiday release. And then Halloween, there's like a spooky mansion with like a graveyard out front. You can clean that in Power Wash Sim. I love the cruise ship. I think that's probably my favorite of the seasonal stuff. Just because it's a fun vibe. And also my wife and I like to occasionally watch like cruise ship reviews on YouTube because we really want to take a cruise someday, eventually, maybe. But we've got, let's see, so we've got Shrek. There's a bunch of Shrek levels. The city of Duloc. There's Shrek Swamp. We just did Hansel's Honeymoon Hideaway from Shrek 2. There's also the Dragon's Lair. You can go in and clean up the hordes of money and clean up the Dragon's Lair from Donkey's Best Gal. Oh, so you got Alice's Adventures. This is one of the newer ones too. You've got the Mad Tea Party. You just run around cleaning all the stuff from the Mad Hatter's Tea Party. You're tiny and you're on this giant table running around cleaning all these giant dishes and stuff. The Wonderland entrance hall is a trip because it starts out kind of normal sized, and then as you go farther down the hall, it gets smaller and smaller and smaller, and the stuff gets like meltier and trippier and weirder. Caterpillar's mushroom, this giant mushroom tree thing that you can clean. Oh, I think my favorite though is probably the Queen of Hearts court, which is like just this big outdoor croquet court with all the cards bent over and stuff for the goals. Like and you just clean all of it. It's pretty great. And then I'm not gonna go through like every single one. You got some Tomb Raider stuff, you know, Croft's Manor maze, Croft's obstacle course behind the mansion, and then the mansion itself, you know. Oh, Croft Manor's treasure room. You've got like the dinosaur and a bunch of her like classic Tomb Raider like trophies in this like treasure room. It's pretty great. And then you have SpongeBob. You've got Conch Street, SpongeBob's house, and Squidward's house, and Patrick's house. You've got the Bikini Bottom bus, the Paddy Wagon. You have the Mermalair. I think my favorite is either Conch Street or the Krusty Krab from the SpongeBob stuff. And then, hands down, one of my absolute favorite movies of all time, like, full stop, Back to the Future. You can power wash the time machine, Doc Brown's van. You can power wash the Hill Valley Clock Tower. And you can even do Doc's time train from the end of Back to the Future 3. Yeah, it's so good. It's like so good. But I wanted to walk you through some of this DLC stuff, guys, because I want to know what you want me to watch next. So if y'all have a vote, just you know, let me know in the chat. I'm gonna eat some more of these chips while we listen to some Five Nights at Freddy's lo-fi. I'll give you a minute to talk amongst yourselves. Hey, boss, I'm gonna head off for now. Woke up too early today. Okay. Well, I appreciate you coming by and helping me out with the stream. I mean, at this point, I'm pretty well tested. I think I'm just hanging out, power washing stuff. Well, I'll tell you what. If nobody has a preference, let's jump into SpongeBob. We'll go clean up Kong Street. I think SpongeBob's house could use a wash. First, the bubble stand, 25 cents for bubbles. If you need bubbles, SpongeBob's got you. You can also pay an additional 25 cents for bubble lessons. If you need lessons on how to blow a bubble, he's got you covered there too. That's one thing I really, really love about the way these power wash levels are laid out. Like, everything tells a story. The devs that are behind this game just really spend a lot of time and have a lot of fun writing these little stories into these locations and these objects, and you can tell. I think that's one of the real, like, attractive parts about this game, is you can just tell how much fun they're having when they're making it. It can be pretty detailed, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of, if you've never played it before, like, there's a lot of depth to the levels. And as you go through, like, the idea is you are a power washing service that gets hired, right? And so, yeah, and it's just like you're just a little one-person power wash service. And so as you go through and power wash stuff, there's like text messages that come in from clients, from potential clients, from, you know, other people adjacent to said clients. And if you follow the text messages, there's actually like stories that play out in the texts. And it's funny because, like, there's a whole lore to this game. And originally it was like kind of a silly theory, but a lot of the folks on YouTube that covered this game when it came out several years ago, they got real deep into the lore for this game and uncovered all kinds of crazy stuff. Like, there's a level where you're like washing a playground, like for kids, right? Like a kid's playground, but like it's a very elaborate playground, and there's cameras set up on the edge of the playground pointed into the forest, not pointed towards the playground because that's creepy, but like there's cameras pointed into the forest. And it's like because they're looking out for Bigfoot. So the whole thing with the cameras is it's like there's this like side story happening where somebody is like trying to capture Bigfoot footage, and it ends up like playing out in the text messages and stuff. It's really weird, but like fun. Markiplier, if you're familiar with Markiplier, on YouTube, did several videos about the lore. Jacksepticeye did several videos. And I believe, if I recall correctly, the Game Theorists did a couple of videos on the lore of Power Wash Sim. And there's some wild stuff in there. So it's like a really fun rabbit hole to go down. Even if you don't like want to buy the game or take the time to play the game, I would recommend the Game Theorist videos on Power Wash Simulator and some of the really fun stuff that they uncovered. But I'm just the kind of nerd that likes to put on some lo-fi, hang out, and just power wash some stuff. It's very satisfying. There we go. Good to sometimes lose yourself in a game like this. Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's part of the reason why I love this game so much is because you can just kind of turn off and just sort of run on autopilot. There's no pressure. There's no, there's no end boss. You're not having to sell anything. I mean, I guess in a kind of a roundabout way, you're like selling your power wash services, but you like not really, it's just kind of built in. So it just becomes this like exercise in chill. You just kind of relax and wash stuff. It's funny. My wife turned me onto this game originally, and she's played several other games where it's like either like the tycoon games. There's like a zoo manager game that she likes to play where she manages these different zoos. There's another game that she really likes where you are a manager of a grocery store. And your grocery store kind of grows over time, and you have to manage, backroom stock and, sell to customers and sell groceries to customers and whatnot, set prices, that kind of thing. And so I started making fun of her that she was taking time away from her real life job to get a second job in video games. So every once in a while, we'll kind of joke about how, like, she's got to go to her second job, managing a zoo or whatever, power washing something. That's the funny thing about something like this, you know, the only thing that really like makes it like something like this a job is the need to make a living to pay for bills and food and survival, right? Like if we didn't have to pay for those things, I think there's a lot of people that would just do this because they enjoy it and because it's cathartic and frankly satisfying. Like it's really satisfying when you get everything cleaned. Very first Roller Coaster Tycoon was fun for me. Yeah, I mean that's a classic. It's a good game. You know what was funny? I was never a big sim game type of guy when I was younger. And Roller Coaster Tycoon, and there was another game, and I can't remember off the top of my head exactly which one it was. I think it was one of the Sims games. But between that and Roller Coaster Tycoon, I really grew to appreciate what kind of games they are and like what they're like, who they're for. Completely changed my perspective on simulation type gaming. And then I'd like, after I sort of had that aha moment, I was like, oh, I get it now, you know? I think that's one of the things I like about Power Wash simulators, because I grew up playing a lot of first person shooters. But when I'm chilling like this, I don't necessarily want that stress of somebody shooting at me, you know? And so this being first person and having sort of similar controls, but in a setting that's way more of a vibe, I think that's what draws me to this. I should tell people that I manage a theme park business. Hey, why not? Listen, everybody in this economy has to have a second job, right? Let's see. How am I doing? Oh, I got this one here. That's one of the things I like about this game too. You can kind of like I can kind of scratch a little bit of that OCD itch. Like I don't have OCD, but like I'm just neurospicy enough to appreciate when things are sort of like in order. And so like, you know, when I'm doing this pineapple, for example, and I'm working my way up from the bottom to the top, rather than working my way up one side and down the other, like I try to go kind of in some sort of like satisfying order. That's just an extra layer of satisfaction for this game. Man, this song is so good. Final Fantasy VII. Keep telling myself to go back to Minecraft. I need to do that. Minecraft is another one of those like really vibey games. If you want it to be, you know, you just sort of set it on like, what is it, chill mode or whatever, where there's no enemies, and you can just build and mine and just, you know, make yourself a little home. I sort of discovered Minecraft last year, and I even have a little series on my YouTube channel where I played Minecraft for the very first time on my Switch. And then I haven't filmed any of it yet, but I did eventually get Minecraft for the PC. and started playing it a bit on the PC. And I mean, I love my Switch, but the RAM limitations on the Switch are very evident when you switch over to Minecraft on the PC and you see all the stuff that is just missing on the Switch. Like it's fun on the Switch, but like it's just a night and day difference on the PC. Which is weird because like the Switch, you know, like I have a lot of great video games on the Switch. Like I love that little thing. It's an excellent console. For whatever reason, they just never put the time and resources into optimizing Minecraft for the Switch. Maybe because it was already, you know, a PC game for so long before it eventually got released on Switch. Because Minecraft's been around a minute, you know. So maybe that's what, I don't want to make too many assumptions, but that could be why. I don't know. Play a mobile game that's also on the PC and just missing all those qualities on the PC that the mobile doesn't have. What mobile game are you playing that is also available on PC? I'm curious. Wuthering Waves. I am not familiar with that game. Please tell me about Wuthering Waves. I'm curious. It sounds cool. Is it like a chill kind of game like this, or is it like, what is it? I'm a gacha gamer. I don't think I know what that is. I'm sorry. I'm just unfamiliar. But I would love to learn. What's a gacha gamer? You're good. It's an open world RPG combat game. Oh, okay, cool. Is it turn-based, or is it more like an action thing, like like any of the modern Zelda games are like action RPGs versus a turn-based thing like the old Final Fantasy stuff? Not turn-based. Oh, okay. I played Kingdom Hearts way back in the day on I want to say on my PS2, something like that, and I remember like I enjoyed the games, and so when I bought Chain of Memories on my Game Boy Advance, I thought it was gonna be more like the OG Kingdom Hearts games, but Chain of Memories is more of like a deck building thing, and the pacing was so weird. Like, not bad. I still enjoyed Chain of Memories, and it was a very, very good game, especially for the Game Boy Advance. But that was my first experience with deck building RPG stuff, and it was just a completely different combat system. You basically gamble for characters that are featured on a banner for like 3 weeks. There's a 50-50 chance that you might get that character. Oh, right on. That's an interesting way to approach character selection and management. I don't think I've ever played a game like that. The game studio that I worked for, I was working on a game where it was like they had characters, but it was less about the characters. It was more about like you were like building armies and stuff. But yeah, that's a really interesting way to approach that, like with a lottery system. I could see that getting like, especially if you're, you know, if you're trying to play it with any level of seriousness, like you'd have to sort of have a plan in place for like, regardless of what character you end up getting, you have to kind of know what to do depending on whether or not the random selection stuff goes your way or not. You know, whether you get the one you wanted or if it's, or if, yeah, I could see that really screwing with like strategy and whatnot. Free to play, but some people can get invested. I mean, that's the model now, right? Like everything's free to play and everything has stuff to buy to make your experience better if you want it. Yeah, the freemium model. I don't know if you're familiar with the term freemium. It was a term that I learned for the very first time in PAX in 2010. I was talking to somebody about the freemium model. It was like an indie dev that I was talking to, and he was telling me about how like they were sort of trying to decide which model to go with for their game that was coming out. And you know, they were thinking about the freemium model just because they wanted to have a free option for people to enjoy the game. But I mean, this was 2010. This was 15 years ago at this point. I'll have to keep that word in my vocabulary. Yeah. So if you Google the word freemium, you'll find out more about the nuances of how that applies to the video game industry, but it also, like, I think that will better explain what has happened to the video game industry in the last 15 years. Now that we have, like, you know, multi-core processors in our smartphones and stuff, being able to do legitimate gaming on a pocket computing device with any sense of like seriousness has completely changed the way that we pick up and put down video games. And the freemium model, you know, really changed the way that game studios monetize their product. And you know, I have a lot of both good and bad feelings about it. But at the end of the day, my feelings don't really matter because A, I don't work in the video game industry anymore. Outside of, like, you know, something like this where I'm just like streaming. And B, what I think only matters insofar as you know, my feelings are concerned, because I'm not personally going to dictate the way the industry goes. Do I miss the days when you could buy a game and the game is finished and you buy the game and you own it? Yeah, I do miss those days. But I'm also not delusional. I don't think those days are really ever going to come back. It just, you know, it's the reality of the industry of video games. We are in a world where something like freemium, once you've rung that bell, so to speak, you can't unring it. And that's how we end up with stuff like Cyberpunk, which Cyberpunk isn't even a freemium game, but the sort of like long-term tertiary result of something like a freemium model means that video game studios are more beholden to shareholders than they ever have been. And so, you know, when Cyberpunk was released, it was released basically unfinished because the shareholders didn't want to keep waiting to make their money back. And cut to a couple years later, they worked out a lot of the problems that they had with the game, and it ended up being one of the best games, honestly, ever made. Like, in my opinion, Cyberpunk is an incredible, incredible game, and probably one of my favorite games I've ever played in my life. But with the way their launch went, you'd never know that. I'm a little biased though. Like, I mean, you probably figure it out from the way my stream looks, but I'm about that lo-fi cyberpunk aesthetic. It's not that's not going to be shocking to anybody that sees this, I'm sure. But yeah, Cyberpunk, you know, had a terrible launch, and here we are several years later, and it is just, you know, it's a genre defining game. You know, an incredible piece of work that if they just had a little more time to be able to sort it out before launch, it would have had an amazing launch, and it would have really gotten the credit it was due. But I think it's just a perfect example of what happens when you have shareholders that are not willing to wait for a product to be finished. So that's all right. I'm just glad that there is a sequel in the works, and eventually someday, maybe 5 years from now or whatever, we're going to get another Cyberpunk game. And in the meantime, we'll keep getting, I don't know if you saw that, what was it called? The Edge Runners, the Cyberpunk animated series. Very, very good series on Netflix. That one's easy to recommend. I've heard good things about the tabletop Cyberpunk game, although I haven't had a chance to play it. Yeah, the Cyberpunk animated series on Netflix is a really good watch. I really enjoyed that when it came out because I'm a big fan. But honestly, on Netflix lately, I've been watching Arcane. I just sort of recently discovered Arcane, the League of Legends series. And holy cow, that is a really good show. I did not expect to really enjoy Arcane as much as I have been. And I know I'm a little late to that party, but whatever. I'm here now. And I'm a big fan of Arcane. Which is funny because I've literally never played League of Legends and I don't know anything about it. All I know is it's a real-time strategy game that is very big in the esports circles. That's about all I got. Yeah, it's a league of some kind. Apparently there are legends. That's about the beginning and ending of my understanding of that franchise. But the Arcane show is excellent, and I don't know anything about League of Legends, and I'm still enjoying the show. So like that's one thing I appreciate is you don't have to be a fan of the game to enjoy the show. Shuyukun, since you're hanging out, what kind of shows do you normally like? Have you watched anything cool lately? Like, you know, what do you do for fun when you're like hanging out watching stuff or playing stuff or whatever? Big anime watcher, Crunchyroll sub. Yeah, okay, yeah, that tracks. Like you can't. I like the occasional anime from time to time, but like I feel like I can't call myself an anime fan because it would be an insult to real anime fans. You know what I mean? One of the few things I know for sure about anime is that if you're a fan of anime, you have to have a Crunchyroll subscription. There's no way around that. Had Netflix, but price hike, yeah, that tracks. Netflix also did a thing where they started really cracking down on people sharing passwords and stuff. So like, I know a lot of folks that were like sharing passwords, or, you know, weren't interested in the price hike, the recent like several price hikes they've had over the last couple of years. Netflix has really just been turning a lot of people off, which is a bummer because they're never going to lower their prices. Once again, shareholders, right? Their shareholders will not put up with them lowering their prices, which means a lot of those subscribers they lost, they're never going to get back. Play a lot of games every day, mostly variety, but been into the gacha stuff. Nice. Okay. I have a very good friend of mine that like I met through the Destructoid community years ago, and that's kind of his thing. Like, he'll watch movies and TV shows occasionally, but his primary source of entertainment is PC gaming. Like, he just really loves playing video games, and like, given the choice of, you know, doing anything to entertain himself, like PC games is kind of his go-to over TVs or movies or whatever. I love all of it. I'm one of those guys that like I enjoy entertainment as art, and so like if it's well done, I'll enjoy it and appreciate it. Full-time work during the day and gaming after I'm off. Yeah. But at least you have like, you know, some video games and some anime to sort of enjoy some downtime. Everybody's got to enjoy some downtime. Everybody's got to, you know, like the chill like lo-fi vibey stuff. Like, you know, you recently met me through the lo-fi streams and whatnot, but like, that's the funny thing about these lo-fi streams. This is kind of what I would be doing even if I wasn't streaming. I would probably be doing this. I have a couple different monitors on my computer. So like right now I'm playing Power Wash on this monitor, but then like over here I have, you know, my chat window and my OBS stuff for streaming. But normally I'd have like a TV show or something on over here while I'm video gaming over here. You know what I mean? Especially stuff like Power Wash Sim. Like this game here is great for watching TV because there's no pressure. So I can just sort of like, if there's a cool scene happening or something on the TV show or the movie, I can just stop for a second and watch whatever's happening on the show and then go back to power washing when that scene is over or when the you know, the show slows down or what have you. It's nice. It's you know, I really like living in the 21st century where I have options. My parents could never get their head around it. It's funny. My dad had a friend especially that was like a real outdoorsy type, like to go hiking and camping for fun and whatnot. And I remember years ago, I was still living at home. And I had my DS in my hand, and I was like watching, like I was sitting in the living room watching something on TV, but then I was playing something on my DS at the same time. And my dad's friend was just like, "How many screens do you need?" And I'm like, "All of them." I don't know what you mean by that. he could not understand. Put myself in those games and anime shows because I enjoy. Also escape. Yeah. I mean, that's the whole goal of those shows and those games is to help us escape. You know, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I'm certainly guilty of the same thing myself. So like, you know. Whoa. What happened? How did that? I don't know what just happened. That was weird. Okay. whatever. We're back. Xbox before switching. I really like the Xbox platform. I worked at Xbox for a while. I worked at Xbox for about a year. I was on their networking team, and my job was to like help people that called in with networking problems to get their Xbox back online. Like if they couldn't connect to Xbox Live or whatever. Usually it wasn't the Xbox that was the problem. Usually it was their internet connection was the problem. Which is funny because that meant that part of my job would be to like three-way call people's service providers and like yell at the service provider on behalf of the customer. I can't even tell you how many times I've been hung up on by, some random internet service provider because I was like calling them on behalf of the customer to like figure out what the problem was and help them get back on Xbox Live. Man, that job didn't pay very well, but it was a lot of fun. I didn't hate going to work every day. The only thing I didn't like about it, really, like when all of a sudden done, the worst part about it was just that it didn't pay very well, and I had a lot of like DJing stuff going on at the same time, and eventually I decided I wanted to go full time as a DJ instead of doing that, for my job. So the DJing stuff wasn't as stable as like an office job. But it just was kind of where my heart was. So like I decided eventually that I had to pursue it, and that's why I left Xbox. But yeah, I worked there, in the Xbox 360 days, right before the Xbox One came out. I would say probably like 2 years before the Xbox One came out, if that. And I always really loved it as a hardware platform. So like when they announced that they were going to be sort of migrating everything into the online service with Xbox Live and like focus more on the streaming stuff. Xbox Live streaming is an incredible service. But I still wish they were doing hardware. That's just me being an old man again, I guess. Just, I like the old days of gaming. Yeah, I was part of the team kind of like, so the main headquarters, is up in Seattle, Redmond, Seattle area, where Microsoft is located. But then they contracted here in Portland with another company to handle all the sort of service side of things. And so I was lucky that I got to work on the networking part of the service team. Cause for the first few months when you're training, they make you do all the like password reset calls and like the billing stuff. I'd have some mom call up and be like, hey, my kid stole my credit card and spent a bunch of money on Xbox Live, and I'd have to like calmly explain to her that she shouldn't give her kid her credit card. Stuff like that. But after the first couple of months, I got a tap on my shoulder from a manager that was like, hey, you want to come work for the network folks? I was like, yes, please get me out of here. And so once I went to work for the networking team, it was way more in my comfort zone anyway, because I grew up in a computer store. And so, networking and computer stuff was more my skill set anyway, over like having to deal with like billing questions and whatnot. So it was a pretty easy transition, and it was a lot of fun. In fact, I'm still friends with several of the people that I used to work with. And this was over a decade ago. But times change, things progress. The company I used to work for is actually out of business. They don't even exist anymore. And I don't know what Microsoft is doing now with their service contract. I don't know if they took it overseas or if they're outsourcing or what they're doing, but it used to be a company that was based right here in Portland. and they're not there anymore. So I mean, just kind of is what it is. But those were some good times. And for what it's worth, like, as somebody who worked at Xbox, and I'm still a fan of Xbox, like, that should tell you, you know, like, what the company's like. Yeah, it's Microsoft, and yeah, Microsoft has their stuff. You know, they're not perfect. They're a company, just like every other big company. But I really enjoyed my time at Xbox, and I still think it's a great platform. Honestly, I wouldn't talk about it this much if I didn't. I don't like making negative content, so like, if I didn't think nice things about the Xbox, I probably just wouldn't say anything. Anyway. I think once I get done with Patrick's house, we'll probably call it good for the test stream today. I don't even know how long I've been streaming. A couple of hours. Yeah, that's probably good enough. Really, the goal today was just to test this multi-streaming thing on my computer to see if I could get it working. And it seems like it's working pretty good. I was getting chat through YouTube and through Twitch, so I know both platforms are working. So the upgrade that I made to my internet connection seems like it was a solid upgrade. Seems like it's working really well. So I'm gonna call this a successful test. Test stream turned out to be a success. Hey. Exactly. So this Friday, we'll be back to playing some more Animal Crossing, I think, because I still got a little ways to go on that game before I think I'm done with it. I'm kind of been working on some stuff. I really want to, I want to pick up a couple of those games I have on my short list for the Switch. Because I've got more stuff I want to do, man, for the Switch, and more games I want to play. But I've been so busy working on, my business stuff, because I mentioned on Friday that I bought an LLC, and now I'm like working on a couple different things that's just going to take a little bit of time and effort to pan out. But hopefully when everything is kind of up and running, I'll be able to make enough of a living that I can stream more often and more consistently, and do this more of like a full-time capacity. That's the goal, is to, I'm hoping that I can set myself up to be able to be DJ Switch full-time. That's what I'm sort of moving towards. I'm working on opening an online shop. I'm working on some offline stuff where I'll be able to go and do tabling events and sell records for Curaga, and possibly some other things. Like, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that's still kind of in the works, and nothing's like finished yet. I still have things to iron out and stuff to do, but eventually, when I can get there, I should be able to do more full-time DJ things. If you do full-time DJ, will you still stream? Well, okay, so yeah, so here's the thing. I've been a DJ for a very long time, and I was a full-time club DJ before the pandemic. I was doing a lot of club shows. I was doing a lot of hip-hop shows. I've opened for a bunch of hip-hop artists and stuff. but I really like, I've always loved video gaming, and I've always loved video game culture and sort of like nerd culture. Like that's where my heart is, right? That's where I really want to be and what I really want to do. And I've always been that way. So yeah, since I was a kid in like the 80s and 90s, man, like I was born in 84. I'm 40 years old, and I've always been that way. So at this point, after the pandemic kind of like put a stop to my full-time DJ career for a while, I sort of made the decision, like, you know what, if I'm going to come back to being an entertainer, I want to do it on my terms. And so that's how I ended up kind of where I'm at now. I just feel like I really want to, you know, if I'm going to do this, I want to do it on my terms. And I want to do it with people like yourself, people that like share my interests and are part of my culture. You know, my sort of nerdy culture. I don't really have a lot of interest in like hanging out with people at a nightclub that have a drug problem or whatever. Like that's not really my scene. Never was. I just worked for nightclubs because that's where I could go make a living as a DJ. But it was always just about playing music. It was never really about the rest of it. And I was never really like a nightclub person, you know? Like if I wasn't getting paid to be there, I wouldn't choose to hang out there. And that for me was kind of the realization of like, okay, I need to be doing something different with my career. So I have all these skills and I have all this experience, and I want to bring those skills and experience to the culture that I want to be more a part of, which is video game culture, nerd stuff, this thing, right? So like, that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to build something, you know, build a business that is built around my personality and my culture, and hopefully my friends. Sometimes good for the balance to do DJ and then have that me time streaming. Yeah, but like, so that's part of the reason why the stream is so focused on lo-fi music, because it's a different kind of DJing. Like I'm DJing right now. You just, you know, it just looks different than what most people would think of as DJing. But what I'm doing is I'm playing a heavily curated playlist and talking about it every now and then. And it's, you know, it's like, it's almost like a radio show. So by doing this the way that I'm doing it, I'm still DJing, and it's, you know, it's like I'm a radio DJ, but instead of the radio, it's Twitch. And, you know, since it's Twitch and we're just listening to tunes and hanging out, I can chat a little with you, but I can also play video games. And I can play video games and chat while we're enjoying some music, and it's still kind of DJing. I believe you'll get there. I would love to get there. I hope that more folks like you kind of see the value in what I'm doing. Cause you know, like as much as I love having people subscribe and like pay money to enjoy my entertainment and content and whatnot, like I really just want people to subscribe so that I can pay my mortgage and keep doing this. That's like, it's just a means to an end. It's not about the subscription. It's about honestly, it's about being able to sleep at night. That's what it boils down to. I love music, I love video games, and I love this culture. And if I'm going to spend my time and my skills on something like this, I just want to do it in a way that allows me to be able to sleep at night. And I love this. I love chill. I love cozy gaming. I love hanging out with people. And if I can make just enough of a living to be able to live with myself, then that's more than I could say for some of the stuff I've done at nightclubs in the past. I've watched people, without getting into details, I've watched people leave my clubs in ambulances. On more than one occasion. And you know, and it's not the life I want. I want to hang out and have fun with my friends. So anyway, that is gonna do it for Conch Street. We got SpongeBob's house all nice and clean, and that means it is time to wrap up this little test stream. Listen, Shuyukun, anybody else that's watching this on the VOD later, like, I just want to say thank you for being here, and thank you for being a part of this, and thank you for supporting this, because it means a lot. I will see you Friday, 7:00 p.m. Pacific time, right back on Twitch and YouTube. Same old spot, same time. And we're going to get back to Animal Crossing this Friday. We're going to spend some more time on the island of Yabutt. And then, you know, I think this Friday we'll talk a little bit more about like what the next games are going to look like too, because I think Animal Crossing, as much fun as I'm having with Animal Crossing, like, I'm ready to start thinking about what's going to be my next game. Even if we play Animal Crossing for a couple more weeks, I still want to be thinking about the next game already. So we'll probably have that conversation on Friday, so we can look forward to that. In the meantime, I want you to enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.